Good morning, everyone. This is Manish. Um, this video is regarding installation of Splunk on how you're gonna install, see how you're gonna search for logs and the basics of installation of Splunk. This is not any official video that I'm, recording. It's just for educational purpose only. In case if you have any questions, you can always reach out via comments, from my YouTube video. And right now, what you're seeing, guys, on the screen is basically the steps on how you're going to install Splunk. It's basically, captured some of the information that I extracted from the Splunk website itself. More likely on, how you're going to install Splunk, what you're going to do, the requirements, basic requirements on installation of Splunk, and the commands that are needed, how you're going to extract the packages, and then ensuring the Splunk is enabled at the boot start, and how you're going to access the Splunk UI. You're going to log in and basically see what we can see from the UI itself, and we're gonna see how we're gonna forward logs from any of the Linux server that we have got in the environment, or maybe from the server itself, from the host itself, on where we installing Splunk, right? And we're going to see what are the things that we could do um, after installing in Splunk at the high level. You know, but the main goal is to identify, understand, the main components of Splunk. The basic architecture of Splunk, right? Now you have the forwarder where you can install the forwarder on any of the supported machines assets in your environment to to collect logs, right? Once you install the forwarder, you know um, that you need to forward logs to the Splunk server for indexing, monitoring, and search related purpose. And from there you know how to configure dashboards. From there, how when you wanted to uh, get an alert, or configure alerts, all the details can be done within Splunk monitoring system. And more likely Splunk is based out of California, United States. And it's an enterprise system architecture that will be leveraging. Currently we are using uh, enterprise version. I basically downloaded the 60-day free trial, that Splunk provides. So I'm just leveraging that for our education purpose. And it's always good to explore tools. It's always good to understand what we have got out there. um, there are many other monitoring solutions, but it's I just chose Splunk right now to to understand, analyze, how easy it is for me to install, how easy it is for me to set up, how essential it would be for me to work within the Splunk UI, as well as any other components within Splunk. um, all right, let's get started. I basically spun up a couple of instances for testing purpose in AWS. I just basically spun up Ubuntu 2004. Um, um, and then from there we'll get started. On how we're going to install Splunk. You can do it in your own environment if you'd like to. It's just a matter of having those instances with the you know uh, required prerequisites, right? The basic memory, the basic CPU cores and stuff that are required as per the Splunk architecture requirement and stuff, right? So I basically spun up a 2-core 4 gig RAM of instance. I think that's the minimum that is required based on Splunk. I'm just trying it. I'm totally not sure about the Splunk requirement, but I'm just leveraging this instance, so this way, uh, at least to get started. and then test it out. All right. So right now, what you're seeing on my screen is the basic steps. Like just I had gone through a couple of minutes back, and right now you're also seeing Ubuntu instance that was spun up, and then I installed the packages. Um, I can just ping google.com just to see if I can, because I would want to download the Splunk Enterprise package, the dev package, from Splunk Network. All right, let's see. If I can run some commands here. Alrighty, all good. So now let me just copy this command, which what this command is basically, you are basically downloading the Splunk from the official Splunk website, right? You just downloaded it. You should be able to see that in here. As you see, it's a .deb package. Now we're going to extract the package by running the dpkg command. So this way, the package is extracted. All right, so it's asking me for super user privilege. So this is one of the requirement, when you're trying to install Splunk. So let me just do sudo su. I'm super user now. So let's copy the command again and run it again. So now if you're seeing here, it's trying to unpack Splunk package. It's basically reading all the directories and files that are currently installed. It's unpacking Splunk. Let's just wait for a few seconds to ensure that this is captured. So next, what we're going to do is basically make sure that we have this Splunk started boot. Like for example, you might need to restart the server, so you wanted to turn on the Splunk process, Splunk daemon at the boot, right? So you will be doing that, and then you basically need to just start the service. So this way the Splunk gets started, and then we're gonna access the UI. Okay, looks like it's set up Splunk. So we're just gonna go to Splunk directory, right? So this way it's easy for us to understand if there is Splunk directory or not. Like if you're seeing, you should be able to see the Splunk directory, and then if you're gonna do ls, basically listing out what's in the directory. Right now you can just do bin real quick, and then you should be able to see all the packages, programs that were installed on this machine. Right, so now what you're going to do is basically ensure that we start this command. We're going to use this command. The Splunk get started. If you're going to see here, there is Splunk daemon, there is a Splunk, and then we're going to use the Splunk, and then we enable that, and then so basically it's a license, right? So just going through here, I'm just going to agree for the license. So this is the important part for you guys to understand. So basically it's asking me to enter a username for the administrator. Who is going to manage this? Who is going to administer this Splunk environment? I'm just going to name it as Splunk for now, right? The username is Splunk, and it's asking me to enter my new password. I'm just going to enter the password that I think that would be sufficient here, and you can just enter your own password. And you got to make sure you confirm the password. All right, so if you're seeing here, right, generate a key, generate a private key, and all the stuff. And oh, the init script is configured to run at boot. That's good. Now we are just going to quickly, start the service, right? Even though we install, that doesn't mean that the service is just going to start automatically. We're just going to start the service and see what we're going to get. All right, the service is started. So now let's just go ahead and access the UI. So after the restart, what's going to happen is, since I SSH'd to the public IP of this instance, so I basically need to configure a tunnel to myself to access the local UI. So what I did was basically I don't need to do that if I just have the public IP. If you have handily in place, we can just get the public IP address of the instance by just getting the public IP from the AWS account and then log into your account. So we're just going to use my so probably I might have mistyped my password here. Alrighty, I am logged in. Just gonna not save this guy. So it's just throwing out an error, right? It's not even an error. I would just say it's basically migrating all its end of life packages of Python 2.7 version to the latest version that's being supported by Python, which is 3.7. So you might see some it might affect your deployment if you have in prod environment or something, but it's just a notification. Let's just don't show me this message again, so this way I don't see the message. Okay, so yeah, if you're seeing the UI, this is how Splunk would just Splunk Enterprise would look like, right? You see, it will show you the display with product tools, add data, explore data, and Splunk apps and stuff. So what you're gonna do is we're just gonna searching and reporting, and of course all the stuff. I'm just gonna skip the tour for now. I know it's good to go through the tool to just go through the icons and widgets and overall UI experience and stuff. But I just wanna quickly go through all the tabs that we can see and stuff. What we can do with searching and reporting, all the stuff, but that's later part. Search, analytics, of course, and stuff. It's just gonna run some queries to alert us and stuff. The data sets and stuff. Let's just ignore that stuff, whatever it is. And of course, it's more about what are the data set type models and stuff, server logs that we collect, and it's just a quick good view of understanding what Splunk has with respect to datasets which are existent within Splunk itself. So okay, so right now you see a bunch of apps and stuff within here. So we're just gonna see here. You see the name, you see the folder name and stuff, and of course so much information that you can consume in here. All right, so let's see. So, all right, so right now there is no data that's coming in. So we need to make sure we configure data within Splunk, right? So this way we know we monitor that specific log, those specific logs. I just want to skip this again. So right now we can uh, follow guides on onboarding popular sources and stuff. However, it's just a matter of understanding what we are trying to ingest into Splunk, right? We can just there are a bunch of ways on how we wanted to uh, import logs into Splunk. right? So we can also do the following method, which we can just import logs from our local machine. We can also monitor the logs, via files and ports on the Splunk platform instance itself, right? Just wanted to send some logs to a specific port, um, and then you just want to forward it, monitor the logs. Or if you just wanted to forward the logs, you can just install the Splunk forwarder. So this way, it's just going to monitor all the files, TCP, UDP, and scripts that are running on that specific machine. Like let's say, for example, if you're going to take web server, or you're going to take DHCP server or DNS server, whatever the server that you take, you can just install this forwarder and then ensure that the logs are forwarded to the right instance. Which in this case, this is the Splunk server to this server. So let's just click on monitor real quick and see what we can see here. So we can monitor files and directories, we can monitor HTTP event collector, we can monitor TCP and UDP logs to listen on a specific network port, and scripts, right? Get any data, from any API service or database with a script, right? We can always do that stuff too. All right, so let's see. Let's see if we can monitor directly from an instance, from this instance, right? So we can always, continuously monitor. We can just always browse stuff. This shows all the directories on my instance, where the Splunk server is installed. If you see here, you see all the stuff, right? You see all the directories. You should be able to see bin. You should be able to see somewhere here Splunk, right? We can always see all the directories and stuff on this machine. So you can always monitor which logs that you wanted to select, right? I just want to monitor, let's say, all the logs in the VAD directory, or maybe let's just monitor all the logs under the log directory, right? So this way, now there could just be multiple subfolders under that and stuff, but still you should be able to monitor all those logs from the directory. Now let's just select that. So it's monitoring that path, which is fab/log. That's the blacklist. Whitelist is something, if you wanted to whitelist something specifically that you wanted to monitor, or just want to blacklist something from the specific, file or directory that you wanted to, you do not want to monitor or something, we can just go that specific path. But we can just select next for now. Now you see here, right, source type is one of the default fields that the Splunk platform assigns to all the incoming data and stuff. Let's just do it automatic for now. This is more of searching and reporting purpose, or you can just change whatever that you wanted to. It's more of a context, right? Folders within Splunk platform instance itself, for a specific use case of of data that you wanted to collect and monitor. I'm just gonna put context to be searching and reporting purpose. And okay, now this is a host field value, right? You can just always rename this guy, but this is the instance that I'm trying to currently monitor on. So I'm just gonna leave it as it is, constant value. I don't want to change every time. Or you can always use regular expression in here on path. So this way it's just gonna pull the IP address accordingly. Let's say for some reason there might be some uh, DHCP address on the network, right? And then the instance might have the IP changed all the time whenever if considering that that IP address doesn't exist, or if it's being used by someone else, it's just going to get a new IP address before the renew period, um, while it's being renewed, right? So it's just gonna keep it as constant for now because that's a static IP on my AWS environment. I'm just gonna select the index to be default. If I wanted, I can just create a new index too, but I'm just going to keep it as it is. I can always, send data to different indexes. So this way it's easy for me to search and review all the data that is needed. So I'm just monitoring directory monitor, right? Source path is this thing, nothing with respect to whitelist and blacklist. And right now we have source type to be automatic, right? All right, so when the host is this guy, now I'm just going to submit. All right, so file input has been created successfully. That's good news because we have, you know, we did input the directory that we wanted to monitor and stuff, and we can always add more data. And let's just do a quick start searching, right? What are we going to see here, right? Just going to see all the logs that are coming in from that specific host, right? And then um, all the logs that are basically that are coming in from var/syslog and stuff. You can always by default, Splunk does take care of the formatting and stuff. However, it's based on the forwarder that we're gonna select, considering we are installing on Windows instances. Let's assume that. Okay, so there could just be Splunk, Splunk take care of most of the stuff for our for our part of analysis, right? So if you are seeing here, we have host to be 1, source to be 14, because we are monitoring logs from these specific values right now, right? So you have about 15, 12 events. That's the total percentage of the total logs that we have got, I guess, for the specific instance. Okay. All right. So source type, right? We have multiple source types, right? Log, dmsh, dpkg, cloud init, and all the stuff, all the good stuff, right? For us to understand interesting fields and stuff. What are the interesting fields that we really like to understand, or we wanted to filter based on stuff, right? So right now it's based on host, source type. That's it. That's good enough for now. All right. All right. So you are seeing the logs right now, which I would assume um, it's collecting the logs from this specific host, and all the files and directories under this var/log, whatever that has specific log formats and stuff, right? So, so if you're gonna just check the patterns and stuff, right, you should be able to see all the patterns and stuff. There are 13 patterns based on sample of 2029 events, right? So, all right. So you see here all the patterns associated with. I can always click the patterns, and that would give me estimated number of events. If you wanted to view the events, that's good. If you wanted to save it as event specific type, you can always do that. If you wanted to create an alert from that specific pattern, you can always do that too, right? So that's a good thing. You can always visualize and stuff, but I'm not going to go into that part for now. I'm just going to leave it up to it right now. Okay, so right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly SSH to this thing, see if an event is just going to get generated. So this is another instance that I took, right? So I'm just going to SSH to, let's see, first let's just do a quick ping to that specific IP address that has the Ubuntu server installed. If I can ping, yep, I can just ping just fine. So now I'm just going to do a quick SSH Ubuntu at, and then just put the IP address and see what's going to happen now. And it says that can't be established. That's fine. Let's just put yes. Permission denied, because I do not have a password on this instance. It's just it's using PKI infrastructure, public. It's just using a private key to get authenticated to that specific instance. So I don't have any specific user account on that specific thing. So I'm just gonna run that again and again and again. Let's see if I can see the pattern within the UI. All right, so that's good enough, I guess. So let's see. Let's just make sure I refresh this page. All right. So let's see. Now, so if you're seeing the timestamp too, right? It's basing on UTC timestamp. So that's fine, as long as it's taking the standard nomenclature. That's well and good enough, right? So I'm just gonna quickly refresh here again to see if any events being generated are captured by our syslog. Just a moment. Alright. So if you're seeing here, right, so you should be able to see all these SSH logs that are captured by our Splunk server. If you see here, source type to be or too small. Okay. But yeah, excuse me. If you were to expand here, you should be able to see which is a host. That's our host. And so it did not capture everything, but if you are seeing here, connection closed by authenticating user Ubuntu on port from this IP address. I'm just SSHing from this IP address. It's basically going to select a random port on my source machine. Pretty odd. So the event actions, right? So we can always click on show source and stuff. So I tried, connecting to this user account from my instance. If you're seeing here, 192.31.95, 176, I'm just connecting from that guy, and then you can just always quickly run this guy. Right, you can just generate more number of events and stuff, but that's fine. But you should be able to see here that at this point in time, I tried to SSH like X number of times, and then you see that specific instance to be collecting all this stuff. And of course, you see new section 4 of user Ubuntu because I'm trying to SSH. It's just going to generate stuff. Uh, Alrighty. So now, at least you got the uh, gist of what I'm trying to convey here, right? So I can always just close this, come back here. All right. So it just definitely generated more number of events, but it's just a matter of few minutes delay for us to reflect all those specific events back in the UI here. So just bear with this few moments. Pretty sure it should generate more number of events, but it's just gonna take a few minutes to trigger those specific events from in the UI. But however, we had seen an example of X number of events being generated from this IP address, um, and that's all good news. All right, so you should be able to see here. So the recent logs I executed like 5 minutes ago. Just collected those logs and stuff. It just added to the Splunk server, so it's good. So now what we're gonna do is basically take the other server that we have got, right? We also have this server, which is gonna install the log forwarder on the server and see how that goes. Okay, bear with me a moment. So I basically went into Splunk Universal Forwarder, and I'm just using 8.0.5 version for Linux. If you wanted, you can just use Windows or whatever the version that you wanted to use. I'm just gonna copy this link. I'm just gonna download this guy. Okay. So I'm already logged in, so I'm just gonna run this command. So people to uh, download that guy. If you can just do a quick list of directories, I should be able to see that Splunk Forwarder. I'm good. Now let me just run sudo su. So this I have root privileges. And now it's just a matter of extracting that specific Splunk forwarder. Make sure we set that up properly. Alrighty, let's do that. It is same as extracting the package of uh, Splunk server itself, right? Where we install Splunk server on a different machine. So we're just gonna run the same thing here, except we're just gonna use this specific guy. So it's dpkg space I space and then Splunk, right? So if you're gonna run this guy, it's just gonna unpack the Splunk forwarder. Just completed. So yeah, we'll need to make sure we come back to the Splunk and files. Let's click on settings and click on forwarding and receiving, and then click on receiving. So let's make sure. Let's say we wanted to receive data to this Splunk server on port 9997. Let's just put that, for example, as you see here. Let me just save this. Right. So now what's going to happen is we just need to make sure we restart the server. So just get some instances here. So if you see here, let's just restart Splunk, right? Restart Splunk Enterprise in progress. Just please wait for that. I'm just gonna stop back here. So, yep, it restarts. I'm just gonna log back in. All right, did restart. So I'm just gonna go back in here. Right now, let's click on Explore Data. So it's all. So it collected almost. Of course, from the Splunk server itself, it collected almost a month ago's data. The last event was 17 minutes ago. That's fine. Let's just so now that we have the other instance, which is just waiting to run the commands to ensure the logs are monitored and forwarded from the instance. So what I'm gonna do is basically, I know the Splunk server IP address is this guy, right? So I'm just gonna copy that real quick and make sure I go back to the command script. So now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go back to bin on our source machine, right? So right now we're on host machine. So right now we're just gonna run some commands, which are basically, first thing is this thing. So let's just run the command. So what the first command says is basically you are saying that uh, you are adding a forwarding server, right? Where exactly you wanted to forward logs. This is the IP address of my Splunk server on this specific port, and you are using some credentials of the log forwarder, and you're authenticating to that. So now you basically just need to run this guy, and it's set up. So now the next thing that needs to be done is, now what is it that you wanted to monitor, right? So I just want to monitor some specific logs, and I just wanted to copy this thing. Let me just not select the index. Let's just put it to default for now. So you can always do index to be default, right? Just want to monitor the var/log directory, source type to be Linux logs, and then just run this thing. So it started doing this thing, right? So now it's just a matter of going back to the instance and see all these logs. All right. So now what we're gonna do is, so if you were to see this thing, right? So now you see the host to be this thing, and it started collecting logs already. You should be able to see all the logs, and of course, I did associate the source type to be Linux logs, which is why you see that to be added to that specific search, and it's collecting all the logs associated with that specific host, which is this IP address. Uh, and yeah, that is all on how you're gonna set up, and you don't need to restart if you're gonna use the if you're gonna um, if you're gonna use Splunk forwarder. So it's just more for Splunk server, on the Splunk server itself, to restart the server service itself. So I'm just gonna comment this out for now, saying that just adding, use the below command to run on the Splunk server, but not on the forwarder. So it should just enable it automatically. But it's just for your purpose, right? You can always change this index. You can always change the source type and stuff, and you start monitoring. That's how you start monitoring. And of course, you can always change this to default index. Of course, whatever the index that you create within the Splunk, and where you wanted to run that stuff. But I'm just gonna change this to my host IP address. I'm just gonna put it in capital, so this way you know that I'm just gonna put the host name there. All right, that is all for the video, and I'm just gonna um, explore things from the Splunk UI and see what is that we gonna collect, how much information that we are extracting. Of course, we specified the specific directories that we wanted to monitor, so we select only those specific things. And now, of course, you can always get more information. And of course, if you were to restart some stuff, right, and you see a lot of stuff in here. Just gonna remove this thing, see what's happening. Now, if you're seeing here, you should be able to see host to be 2, because I'm collecting logs on my own server, and of course I'm also collecting logs from an external machine, which is basically uh, a Linux server itself. I collected almost about 6,000 6,800 logs, event logs from the machines, from these both machines. Now I know different source types. I know different sources where I'm collecting logs from. I know which machines that I'm collecting logs from. Of course, there are multiple interesting fields that you wanted to always, enable um, to see, all the basic stuff, right? So it's all good stuff. You can always extract new fields and stuff too, if you wanted. But again, it's just a matter of how you wanted to extract, and what you wanted to extract and stuff too. But other than that, I hope this helped you a bit. Um, we'll see you guys next time. Bye now.